Hi everyone. In this next video, I will be demonstrating the various processes and techniques I used to create these prints. But I also want to take a moment to share the inspiration for this project with you. Focus Finder is a new exhibition at JNAG featuring works by Susan Dobson. You might think you're looking at a landscape. You might even think you recognize the place. But these images are compositions, meaning that Susan Dobson has taken sections of real photos that she has captured and manipulated them into creating new scenes. And did you happen to notice that the artist has included icons that a photographer would use to center or focus their image in the final view that we've encountered? These marks relate to photographic practices and technologies used throughout decades. So thinking about creating photographic compositions and various modes of photographic technologies seem to be a perfect tie-in for us to explore cyanotypes together. To get started, I am layering the acetate over the cardboard and using this masking tape to create hinges along the top edges. The four corner brackets that you see drawn on that cardboard are there to signify the approximate size of each sheet of cyanotype paper so that we're able to think about our compositions before we pull the paper out and expose it to light. Each print relies on a very simple order of layering. We'll always have the cardboard on the bottom, and then the cyanotype paper and the fun items that we want to capture on our print, and then the acetate on top to help hold everything in place. This first print that I am making is going to follow that order as I lay a piece of lace over the treated side of the cyanotype paper and bring it out to sit in the sun. This part of the process can take anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes on a sunny day, or up to 15 minutes if it weren't so sunny. When you see that the paper has changed color, you'll know that it's ready for the next step. Now I am going to give the paper a rinse in cold water, and we'll get to see one more color change as the solutions that created that light sensitivity are removed from the paper. You can also rinse your paper by holding it under running water in your sink. Either way, a proper rinsing should take about 1 minute with cold water. And now I'll set this one aside to dry and move on to another technique. This dry erase marker can be a fantastic way to experiment with drawing onto the acetate to capture your drawings onto a cyanotype. A chisel tip marker like this is great because it's actually like 3 markers in one. Depending on how you hold the marker, you can achieve a thin, bold, or medium line. You can draw a fine line by applying only the point of the chisel tip. By turning the point, you'll be able to draw a slightly thicker line, and by drawing with the broad slant of the chisel tip, we can draw our boldest lines. And then the beauty of this being a dry erase marker is that we can remove everything that has been drawn onto the acetate with just a tissue or paper towel. I think that the blue of the cyanotype paper reminds me of water and the night sky, so I am drawing this whale's tail in the moonlight. A cotton swab is a perfect tool to erase just a sliver of a marking. This way I can give the crescent moon sharper points. And then the process is just the same as before. We'll sit it out in the sun until it changes color, and then we'll rinse our print in cold water for 1 minute. From here, the possibilities are pretty much endless. You could draw or even write. And light passing through the marker lines, especially if they're drawn over again, can create an almost paintbrush-like effect. On this next print, I'm going to use some hole punches that will cut different shapes, and then I'm going to sprinkle them sort of like confetti all over my print. If you have some hole punches and want to try this out, you could even go further by arranging the confetti in a pattern on top of the acetate and then carefully taping it all in place. You could also use scissors and cut any pattern or shape into black paper or cardboard and layer that over your cyanotype. If you notice that your prints are a lighter shade of blue like this one has turned out, it's possible that it wasn't out in the sun for long enough. I'm pretty sure that I was a little too excited and didn't even wait a full minute before bringing this one back inside. For this next print, I went into my garden and picked a few things. And because the dried flowers and grasses aren't as flat as a sheet of paper, I've taped everything to the bottom edge of the board and then slid the cyanotype paper underneath. And you can see in the print here the way that the shadows have been captured. For this last print, I used an old jar lid and some keys. These objects were big enough and heavy enough that I didn't have to layer them underneath the acetate paper, and I didn't have to tape anything in place. Well, friends, that's how I created these 6 cyanotype prints. I hope I've given you some ideas of how you can create your own, and I hope that you have a lot of fun doing it.